I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happened. All the romance went out the window with the slow jam. Pivot comes on the mic. He's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 10 minutes to 2 here at the Wild Coyote. We're gonna slow things down. Ladies, grab yourself a man. Fellas, grab your woman and hold her real tight. We're gonna slow things down with a little R. Kelly. I don't see nothing wrong. Oh, man. Oh, a little Key Sweat. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, you all know it. You finally walk over and you're like, hey, you want to dance? It's like, all right, you grab her hand, you walk out to the dance floor. You know, acting all shy. You know, I'm not like those other brown guys, baby.
Yo, man.
How you
it's
doing?
My man, Hollywood Harv, boy. What's
Good to be here. Good
you
to
got
be
some
here.
funny stuff in that clip, man.
It's all right.
No, it was funny, man. I was there. It was funny. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny.
It's always different when you see the playback on TV. You're
exactly.
Like, oh, man, do I really look like that?
It was funny, though. You was having a good time, though, man.
Yeah, it was a great time.
You know?
It was one of those nights where everything was just on, you know?
There you go. Man, but you're having a good time that night, man. But we want to know what makes you funny.
It's a combination of things.
Yeah.
I think my delivery, the way I say things, like the way I'm animated. I'm watching that video back. I talk a lot with my hands, as I'm doing now. My hands are always going, and my hands are ginormous. Hey. And so, like, I mentioned going up the stairs there, and as I'm holding the mic and I'm like going up the stairs, I'm like doing the stairs with my hands. Yeah. But I think just the delivery and timing. Timing's a big thing. I mean, because everyone can read a joke, but it's how you deliver it to an audience.
Because as a comic, man, you always hear them talk about the timing. Because what if the timing's off?
If it's off, I mean, it's hard. Once you start getting in that hole, you know, things turn ugly real quick, right? I mean, the toughest thing is to have something go wrong, a bad timing, or like a joke that wasn't funny. Yeah. And then recovering from that. Because then once you trip up once, you know, mentally you kind of ran through that show in your head over and over. You trip up once and then it just snowballs. Yeah, because I know, I had a question here for you. I'm like, man, have you ever had a set where nothing was funny? That the people weren't even laughing at all? Luckily, I'm not. Is there anything wood here I can knock on? But not yet. Not yet. It happens to everyone, but I mean, I haven't had that yet. I've had a few, like I did a show on the East Coast once, and where I came out and the first like F-bomb I dropped, everyone was like, oh! And you know, I was 30 seconds into my show. I was like, hey, if you guys are gasping every time I swear, I mean, it's going to be a long night for me, you know. You know those folks, man, when you sit there and you look at them and all of a sudden it comes out and they, you know, this dude, what is he, has anyone ever got up and left because you threw out the F-bomb? No, never. Never. I think the audiences usually know what they're in for. Yeah. When I'm doing a live show, I mean, I do private events, which is different, you know. I mean, I can do a kids show if I need to, but you know, you gear the show towards the audience. I generally know what type of people are going to be there and what I can get away with. Okay. Right? And as a youngster, though, man, did you always want to be a comic or a comedian? Yeah, I always, not necessarily. I always wanted to have a microphone in my hand. Yeah. You know, it didn't have to be a comedian. You know, it could have been anything. You know, television host or whatever, sportscaster, on the news, you know? Yeah, because you did do some hosting, though, man. I did. Radio show. I mean, you did some stuff a long time ago for Shaw here on Shaw TV, on the TV station, right? Yeah, so, I did a lot of television, but it was just, I just love being in front of that live audience. Yeah. You know, I love interacting. I love being on my toes. Like, anything can happen. There's some crazy stuff that happened at this show. Yes, there was. Yes, there was. It was some ridiculous stuff. Middle of my set, some guy belches about 10 minutes into the show. He's sitting like 5, 6 rows up. I'm like, this is a crowded theater. Who belches during a show?
And it was loud.
It was loud. It was really loud. And so, I mean, a couple minutes, I harped on that. A light popped, like middle of the show, just light bulb goes, and I was just like, whoa. And I mean, it's hard not to be thrown off by it, but I had to like stay on my A game.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, once these things start happening, man, how do you actually stay focused and not get out and start going off on these folks and not getting back to your jokes?
You got to know, like, how to get back. You have to know how I can hit this and then get back. Like this guy Belch, you want to give it to that guy. You want to embarrass him because he's doing something that could really throw you off. And this is a big night. It's a big night for me. It's a big night for anyone, right? But then you got to know that, hey, I got to get back on track. Because, if you go off too far, sometimes you forget. Like, sometimes you have a mental order of how jokes are going to flow from one into the next.
Yeah.
And if you forget, once you're thrown off track, then it's like, where do I go back? And then if you go back into the wrong order, will this joke still flow into the next joke as well as it would have?
So you got to make sure you stay on point. Now, when you get... What can people who have never seen Harv before expect when they come to your show?
They can expect to get like a big slice of meat. It's like everything. Like, when people ask, like, oh, do you have someone that writes jokes for you? I'm like, no, but my friends are my writers. Technically, like, I have such a ridiculous group of friends that all do the most absurd things. We party hard, and so much stupid stuff comes out that I just take that and turn it into jokes on stage. So like every single thing that I talk about is actually a real event that happened. Half of the people that were involved in that event are still sitting in the audience right there. But I just changed the names of the characters and turned it into a bit. But it's all real. Like all that stuff is actually happening. I've been lucky enough to have like a real eventful life. Right?
So because this all your jokes, they're coming all from family and friends. Then.
Exactly. They're all actual events that happened. And I mean, some of them, like, when you throw in something ad-libbed, it's because that event, like I wrote the show 2 weeks ago and that happened 2 nights ago. So then you're like, all right, well, throw that in. I gotta say when, Ian fell down on his face and, Kay showed up at the wedding the next morning with scabs on his face.
Exactly.
Like, you gotta throw that in.
Now, man, we gotta get you on the grind question, man, because a lot of cats out there, man, ain't getting in your shoes right now. And they suffering and can't get to writing their own show, hosting their own show. I mean, what can you tell them to stay on the grind and be inspired to actually continue?
You know what? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And then, I mean, a lot of people had that misconception when this last show was a Vogue Theater, had 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And people are like, where the hell did this guy come from?
Exactly.
But I've been at it for 12, 13 years. Radio, television, voiceovers for commercials. Like, I was in that field, And I just found a niche, like, market that worked for me is like hosting and doing comedy at private events.
Right.
Which other people weren't doing. Like, everyone sees, television host, comedian. It's like, they think it's a glamorous job, but a lot of those things don't really pay well. Being a comedian, going out to like comedy clubs and doing clubs doesn't pay that well.
Yeah.
So you have to find things like I found private parties and whatnot where I could make a living, and I did that for a long time. So I had a fan base. But that's me on the grind,
Exactly.
Where someone else might think, hey, I want to go step up on a stage and do a big show like he just did, but they don't realize that the 12 years before that, I've been doing these small stages, but it's stuff that you wouldn't hear about in the media.
Right. Now, if you weren't a comedian, what would you be?
Well, like every other brown guy, I'd probably build subpar homes and own a Subway, right? I mean, I don't know. Something like that. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've had a lot of little small businesses, and that's what I'd be doing.
Okay. Now, quickly, with the obstacles and sacrifices, man, that you have to go through.
I wouldn't change a thing.
There you go.
I wouldn't change a thing. Everything that happened was good. Like all the hating, lying, cheating people that you meet and go through only make you stronger and only add to the experiences that you have that you can then share on stage.
Nice.
I wouldn't change anything.
If there's people out there right now, something that no one else knows about Harv that you can tell us right now, quickly.
I'm wearing makeup right now. and I do tend to wear it every now and then. My sisters call me Harvina. I grew up with 3 sisters, right? So I was always like, you know, they made sure my nails were done, eyebrows were done, you know? So I had those girly tendencies because I mean, I grew up in a home full of women, a lot of estrogen.
Hey, longevity of fame, man.
Yeah.
Longevity of fame.
You know what? No one knows yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At this point, I don't know how long I'll be out there. Right now, everything's going great. There's a DVD coming out, a couple sold-out shows, shows coming up, but who knows how long it lasts. I mean, you got to continue writing new stuff and being funny.
Nice. Man, I want to thank you for coming out, man.
I want to thank you for having me here.
Definitely. Yo, next week's guests from the Whitecaps, Michael Maddox and songstress Sarah Kay. And then we have a ticket giveaway for Vancouver versus LA. That's next week. And I want to thank my sponsors, Aerocar, Provision. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, whichever. You got Twitter.
Oh, yeah. At Hollywood_Harv.
There you go.
No, is it underscore? What is that thing? The dash that's down below? Find it.
Don't worry, find it. Hollywood Harv. I'm your man, Valentine, baby. If you think it's your time to shine, you need to get on the ground with your man, Valentine. Also, Checkmate and Concise. Thanks for coming out, y'all. It's your man, Valentine, Hollywood Harv. We out.